Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Let's talk about this Thursday night matchup. We got to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Buffalo Bills. Very interesting game for a number of different reasons. But the question that I want to pose today to the audience: did the Buffalo Bills eliminate their doubts and or concerns by winning this game on Thursday night? Now, before I get into this topic, there's something that I want to contextualize so we could all understand where I'm at and kind of where I want to go with this subject. Now, the first thing is there's two ways you can look at the Buffalo Bills. Personally, I look at the Buffalo Bills as a team, and it's funny because I want to bring in this tweet because I related to it. They said the Buffalo Bills have a superpower of being just as good as whoever they're playing. Now, when they say that, they're saying, okay, 2 weeks ago on Monday night, they're playing the New York Giants. They're just as good as that team. A couple weeks from now, we can say they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, hypothetically, Sunday night primetime football. They're going to be just as good as Mahomes and company. That is what we've been seeing with this team. And I think you talk about a team who can play up to the competition with the best of them in the NFL because they are super talented. They have Josh Allen, the top 5 quarterback in this league, but they can also have duds where they turn over the football. They start off extremely slow like they did last week versus New England. And I think we have to find a middle ground in that game. So when we say that, there's also people who say, okay, this is a very talented team. I see Josh Allen. I see Stephon Diggs. I see James Cook in the backfield, AJ Epinesa, Von Miller getting back healthy. I see all of that and I'm paying attention to it, but I just don't think this is a team who's capable of making a deep playoff run. I'm not in that group of people, but I do think they have what it takes. It's just built on consistency. Sean McDermott really getting these guys into a situation where they say, okay, now we can consistently win football games. We can consistently play up to our potential. And I think that, albeit, I have to acknowledge it. You get yourselves into a situation, and Bills fans, I want to know what you feel about it, but get into the fourth quarter, and you find yourself in a situation where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drive the football down the football field. They make it 16-24. Somehow, Mike Evans hauls in a catch from Baker Mayfield. It's 4th and 10. They convert that with a touchdown, so that's something that happened. And then they go for 2 after that play. Baker Mayfield finds his tight end. So you see that and say, okay, if I'm a Bills fan, now my hair starts to creep up on my shoulders. Now I'm starting to get a little bit of goosebumps. And I want to bring this topic into the video as well because the Buffalo Bills, they had a couple scenarios, and I go back to 2 drives earlier. They could have went for it on 4th down. They chose to punt the football. Now, shout out to the punter for Buffalo. He had an amazing game. He deserves a game ball as well, along with all of the other players in the game. But he's getting those guys. Now they're beyond their 10-yard line. Now they're getting the ball at the 5. They're starting at the 3-yard line if you're Tampa Bay, and you have to drive their entire football field. So that's just a tough situation. And he did that basically all night. Whenever Buffalo had to punt, he had a pretty good one on him. Can't say the same for Tampa Bay's punter because you got Deontay Hardy. He's cutting back and making big-time plays on punt returns. But I pay attention to that and I say, okay, when they had to drive the football, and this is going back to the last drive before the Hail Mary play, when they had to get the ball and really just run the clock out, you have to be able to consistently run the football. And I thought they had a pretty good rushing attack. And actually, I want to bring this in. The Buffalo Bills had 115 rushing yards on the ground. So that's what they had last night. And to see that out of a team who we don't really say their offense is predicated on rushing the football, I think that is a pretty solid output. But when it came down to it in that biggest moment, in that final drive, they got the clock down to 20 seconds. So I can commend them for that. Shout out Ken Dorsey, Sean McDermott. But you want to be in a position where you can go for some of those 4th downs and feel confident that you can run the football. You don't have to put it in Josh Allen's hands. You get it to a guy like Latavius Murray. And this is why I say I want to bring this topic into the video because Derrick Henry is on the market. And I don't think it's going to take a lot to get Derrick Henry. So this is a conversation you have to have, and I don't know if Buffalo fans have talked about it. Like I said, I really haven't heard a lot of Derrick Henry to Buffalo rumblings and mumblings, but it's something that I've been thinking about. When you make a move like that with the defense that you already have, now you lose a Matt Milano, you lose a Tre'Davious White, and I think that has shown within the secondary in the front 7, but I think if you could add a guy like that, and now when you're in a situation, we don't ever have to worry about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting the football back because we can run the clock down with a Derrick Henry. That's just something I wanted to throw out there. But in this game, they get the football back, Tampa Bay, with about 20 seconds left. They drive down just a little bit, attempt a Hail Mary. Nobody touches the Hail Mary. I don't understand how that happens. How do you throw a Hail Mary and nobody gets a hand on it? Now, it was intended for Chris Godwin. He had a pretty solid game as well out there, but I just think that when you throw a Hail Mary, the last play of the game, you're trying to make something, and they really could have won the game with a touchdown. They lost by 6. So even if it's a defender, just keep the ball in the line of play. And I think that also that goes into the receivers trying to make a play on the football, but really the way it was thrown, it was around Chris Godwin and really nobody else. So that hit the ground. It was no chance of that being completed. So you win a game like this. Like I said, you start off hard, something we haven't seen in the past 2 weeks, and that's huge for the Buffalo Bills going into their next couple of games. And I think that now the question is, when we say, did they erase any doubt? I don't think that I learned anything about Buffalo that I didn't already know. Now, I think it's good to see them fix some of the errors that I've seen in the previous 2 weeks, but there's still some things we would like to see cleaned up. Overall, not a bad game. And I want to go to Josh Allen's stats because he had a really good game as well. Now, he has 3 interceptions in his last 3 games, but the interception last night, I kind of want to give him a pass for that one. It wasn't a terrible read. He wasn't late with a throw across the middle of the field. It was really one of those where he tries to get the football out quick. The pass got tipped, and then a guy just came down with it. So seeing that and really looking at the totality of his game, he went 31 of 40, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had the interception, of course. 86 QBR on a scale of 1 to 100. So overall, you look at everything within this game, and like I said, when we ask the question of did they erase any doubt, I think it really depends on where you stood with this football team previous to this game. Like I said, I think they can beat anybody. I think they can lose to anybody. They play as good as the opponent, and that's what we've been seeing. But we have to understand this is a very talented team, and even with the slow starts that they've been having, still top 5 in total offense. Now, currently they're ranked 14th in total defense. So I think it has fallen off just a bit when you lose Matt Milano playing at an all-pro level, top 3 linebacker in all of football. You lose Tre'Davious White in that secondary. Sean McDermott doesn't have to love those 2 things, but Von Miller's coming back. You got A.J. Epinesa, Gregory Rousseau. Leonard Floyd is looking really good off of the edge. I think there's a lot of things you can look at, but I didn't really have any doubts. I had a couple concerns, and I think those concerns were answered. But when looking at the totality of their season and what their potential is on the season, I think that I have to say I like where they're going. I don't really have any major doubts for the team right now, but I do think that I want to see some consistency. That's my biggest thing. Josh Allen, I want to see some games where you don't turn over the football. No interceptions, no fumbles. Get the running game going just a little bit more. And I think the final point that I want to make is you have to factor in that you were playing against a really good defense. Izzy, a young corner for Tampa Bay, he was looking really good. You got Jamel Dean out there, Carlton Davis. So I think they look pretty solid on the defensive end. We look at the guys in the front 7. Of course, you have Levante David, Devin White of the world, Antoine Winfield Jr. So it was a really good battle. I think it was a good game to see. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's not really a loss. Now, you're on a 3-game losing streak. You never want to be on that, but I think we did see some fight out of the team. When it looked like it really was nothing to play for and it looked like the game was all but over, they still made big-time plays. Mike Evans hauling in that touchdown, getting a Hail Mary attempt just to get to a situation like that. I saw a team who still has something in them. Now, I don't know if they're going to be sellers at the deadline. I still have to monitor that, but I just like to see how they competed against the Buffalo Bills, a very good team who had something extra to play for. Like I said, they're in a very good division. They're in a very good conference. So you look at a situation when you talk about the AFC, you got Jacksonville, you got Kansas City, you got Miami, some of the other teams, and you want to say, now we're trying to get into a situation where we pray and hope we can get into that bye week. Because if you don't, now you're looking at a gauntlet in the AFC, and I think that for some health reasons, it would be really good just to have that bye week. But overall, Bills fans, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Did this game erase any of your concerns or doubts within the Buffalo Bills and really with Josh Allen? I think Josh Allen had an amazing game because we talk about him when he turns over the football, so we got to talk about him when he plays amazing as well. And this can kind of go back to the Jacksonville game because I thought he looked very good in that game as well, but had the turnovers and critical moments. So it's something that we have to look at and just want to see consistency outside of this game heading into the next weeks. That's going to do it for today's video talking about the Buffalo Bills today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always for more content. And now, we out.